Level 1. Lab Trainee. You strip tiny sensor insulation with the red wire stripper under fluorescence. Beside the lab bench, you drop the torn black backpack of mismatched tools. You match numbered terminals to the laminated wiring diagram above the rack. At the green terminal block, you tighten each screw with careful hands. You open the used laptop and wedge its cracked corner beside the training controller. With the yellow teach pendant, you jog the robot joint before the soft limit. You cross the polished lab floor in boots with scuffed steel toes. After everyone leaves, you sweep wire clippings into a pan with the gray push broom. You mark each cable with a white label before unplugging the rack. Under the wall clock, you face the instructor as he taps away exam time. You watch classmates crowd the clear plastic safety cell while the robot lifts. Across the bench, you tip the blue cable bin into colored tangles. You balance wiring notes across your knees on the city bus seat. With slowed motion, you program pick points around the plastic cube fixture. You count the white pay envelope at the table and find $1,200 per month. Beside the trainer, you reset the red emergency stop button and wait. You trace sensor voltage to the PLC card with a borrowed multimeter. At the sign-up clipboard, you hear a classmate complain about robot time. You fill the spiral notebook with relays, coils, sensors, and axes. During the test, you search for the loose blue wire as time expires. You rip off clear safety glasses before the dead trainer. Beside the silent stack light, you set the failed test sheet face down. You tug the tiny ferrule end after class and find the failure. In the dark lab, you coil the orange extension cord near the janitors. You pin the factory job flyer above the bench and circle Night Shift Maintenance. Level 2. Maintenance Helper. Supervisors surround the silent conveyors while red stack lights warn of a frozen packaging line. You open the new multimeter case like expensive jewelry in your hands. Through oil-stained aisles, you roll the dented tool cart between machines. On the company work shirt, you touch the embroidered name patch, stiff against your chest. You align the photo eye sensor until the receiver light changes green. Under the bent conveyor guard, you follow a damaged cable through grease. You obey the older tech snapping orders beside the greasy combination wrench. Across the red lockout hasp, you spread the lockout kit. You check the safety relay module reset sequence under senior scrutiny. Away from the jammed bagger, you drag the coiled air hose. You leave tools visible in the open trunk in the employee lot. After wiping oil from the pins, you swap the round cable connector. You reset the conveyor beside operators holding cardboard cartons. At the supervisor radio, you answer questions about the deadline. You read $3,200 per month on the payroll check during the break bell. Inside the cart drawer, you arrange cheap sockets along the chrome rail. You identify contactor chatter by the motor starter. At the stained utility sink, you wipe black grime from your arms. You take blame from the senior tech beside the stopped conveyor belt. On the yellow floor stripe, you step backward with open fists. You absorb the operator's accusation near the reject product bin. After the line runs, you restock fuses in the fuse drawer. You sketch the real cable path on torn cardboard. Behind motel-style curtains, you face industrial park lights from your cheap room. You fill the plastic laundry basket with safety glasses and work shirts. As operators rush after flying bags, motor drives bring the bagging rollers roaring alive. You record repair time in the grease-stained logbook after everyone leaves. Beneath the production loss board, you stop and study the lost minutes. Level 3. Robot Cell Technician. You park the used pickup grill beside the plant entrance before sunrise. Toward a fenced welding cell, you roll the labeled tool chest. You hang the flame-resistant jacket from the cell gate, its cuffs darkened. Behind the fencing, welding robots throw blue sparks as programmed cycles run in rows. You nudge the torch millimeter by millimeter with the robot teach pendant. Before cell entry, you check the lockout tag cluster. You open the rugged tablet to robot manuals and backup files. At the copper welding torch, you dry run clearance around the fixture. You hear maintenance blamed again beside the operator badge lanyard. Before shift change, you back up the robot program to USB. You drop the key fob on your apartment counter where no roommates wait. Before the weld, you measure fixture pins with the digital caliper. You replace the brass weld nozzle at the torch neck. At the quality hold tag, you refuse the production lead's rushed restart. You arrange impact sockets in the clean foam drawer insert. On the reference point pin, you shift the user frame carefully. You radio the control room with the black handheld before servo power. Beside your gloves, you read $4,800 per month on the bank deposit slip. You watch servo motors swing an overhead palletizer while conveyors feed cases from 3 directions. Against the adapter plate mark, you align the end effector. You wipe weld spatter from the sensor lens with a folded shop rag. At the red quality stamp, you face inspectors blocking restart. You unlock the gray control cabinet along the aisle of trouble. During production, you grip the bent fixture jaw after the robot crash. You slam the yellow cell gate and point everyone behind safety. Before loosening parts, you photograph crash marks on the scratched robot wrist. You compare backups line by line on the program comparison screen. Beside the manager clipboard, you answer for recovery time. You count empty part carriers from downtime at the cell entrance. While the dial indicator needle settles, you square the tooling. With your thumb over the dead man switch, you jog through the crash zone. You pass the new gray couch and plant boots. After repairs, the controller drives twin robot welders through sparks while the cell keeps pace. You absorb the production lead's nod at the speed target sheet. Inside the metal locker, you stock gloves, manuals, and a charger. You block restarts from the wrong position on the recovery routine page. As next shift clocks in, you sign the shift handoff form. You shake weld dust from your hair outside the plant smoking shelter. Beside the ruined fixture cart, you study what robots can destroy. Inside your tablet case, you circle Robot Crash Recovery on the brochure. Level 4. Field Service Technician. Before sunrise, you drag the black Pelican case through the airport. At the rental counter, you wear the embroidered service jacket logo forward. You pack coiled spare cable beside the rugged laptop. Beside the dead palletizer lane, trucks fill the dock doors while workers wait. You connect to the controller Ethernet port before crowded local maintenance. Under the plant manager's hard hat, you resist a premature restart. You clip the temporary visitor badge in the food plant lobby. At the rental SUV tailgate, you build a parking lot workbench. You swap the blue network cable and watch robot communications return. At the boot scrub station, you wipe sanitizer from your boots. You question the panel fault beside the electrician's voltage tester. With the key card, you check into the premium hotel room. You train techs outside the guarded cell with the laminated recovery card. On the payroll email printout, accounting shows $7,200 per month. You eat dinner from the foil sandwich wrapper before the night call. Powered rollers race cartons down the merge conveyor toward waiting trailers. You edit homing around the slip sheet magazine clearance. At the restart authorization sheet, you reject a partial test signature. You call dispatch near the elevator on patterned hotel carpet. On the flight itinerary screen, you read 3 emergency cities. You see cake beneath boarding time in the birthday text photo. Through the thermal camera lens, you find the hot drive. You miss the birthday candle video call during dispatch. At the boarding gate, you pocket the phone after one hollow laugh. You face your partner's question about home on the cracked phone screen. At midnight curb bollards, you load the Pelican case into a rental SUV. You leave the open suitcase half-packed on the hotel luggage rack. At the lounge scanner, you enter without a second check. Beside the risk checklist board, you brief the plant team. You look across robot cells stretching beyond aisle lights on the automotive supplier floor. Under dock lights, you sleep upright in the reclined driver's seat. You open the drawer at home and find a pile of hotel soaps. Into your jacket, you fold the coffee-stained napkin marked Lead Tech Opening. Level 5. Senior Automation Technician. A crane operator lowers a new robot cell into place while trades wait below. You open the truck drawer system full of organized test gear. At the lockout meeting board, you lead electricians, millwrights, and controls techs. With the badge stack swinging from your belt, you enter engineering. You check anchor bolts with the torque wrench before base tightening. Beside the vendor packing list, you challenge responsibility for late guarding. You assign power, pneumatics, tooling, and cables on the task board. On the rolling stand, you keep the laptop away from dust. You tune the path around the fixture by one steel washer. At home, you line the garage pegboard with calibration tools. You sign for parts at the cage window before startup. At the launch schedule chart, you refuse skip dry cycles. You verify light curtain zones with the test rod. Inside the glass conference room, payroll confirms $9,500 per month from the folder. You watch the empty robot gripper cycle while workers hold a semicircle. Along the perimeter, you check every yellow e-stop station by hand. You calibrate the checkerboard vision target before the first robot pick. At the electrical print roll, you defend startup sequence before the customer. You wear the branded hard hat, clean but rim-nicked. Before production material, you sign the dry cycle checklist. You receive the inspector's red tag for safety gaps at startup. On the silver guardrail, you plant both palms before fixes. You document promises for the inspector beside the safety code binder. With orange layout tape, you mark guard panel locations. You check replacement wiring at the e-stop terminal strip under flashlights. Under bright launch lights, the corrected cell runs clean, dry cycles. You drive home with torque tools locked beneath the truck cap. To replace repair habits, you hand the launch control checklist to the team. Level 6. Robot Integration Lead. You open labeled cabinet doors in your personal bay. Across the integration shop, robot arms stand bolted to steel bases. You park before the two-car garage door of the suburban house. Between conveyor frame rows, you walk the morning assembly path. You synchronize robot motion at the vision camera mount. At the client stopwatch, you answer doubts about promised cycle time. You check each wooden vendor crate before the build starts. After 3 client calls, you answer the ringing company phone. You teach bad part positions at the reject chute. Along the black cable track, you direct junior techs. You trust the junior tech with the checklist before customer arrival. As executives enter, you keep the pressed work shirt tucked. You challenge the unearned ship date beside the sales manager's tablet. At the encoder wheel, you trim timing until parts square up. You watch a custom robot cell pick, scan, place, and reject under shop lights. At the accountant calculator, the accountant says bonuses bring $12,500 per month. You tape off the blue demo aisle before executives enter. For delicate part lift, you adjust the vacuum regulator knob. You confront the late vendor at the wrong sensor bracket. With the client watching, you check the FAT checklist. You count controller pallets awaiting finished cells near the loading door. At the barcode scanner head, you troubleshoot handoff timing. You catch the junior tech's evasion at the half-open panel door. Behind barriers, executives watch as the cell reaches production speed. You trace the dead cell to the miswired terminal jumper mid-demo. With a sharp motion, you snap the pendant cord straight and command silence. You answer control questions about the build at the customer leather folder. With a terminal screwdriver, you isolate the wrong jumper. You keep the junior tech's gloves beside your hands during retest. Facing the customer plaque wall, you feel reputation become pressure. As the repaired cell runs flawlessly, twin reject bins catch bad parts. You confront the junior tech privately at the break room table edge. At home, you keep parts shelves beside the family car. For every pre-demo review, you rewrite the dual signature checklist. You supervise the finished cell shipment with the shrink wrap roll. Before the truck arrives, you guide forklift forks under the robot base. You refuse loading before backups at the shipping dock chain. Into the sealed USB envelope, you copy final programs. You watch the cell leave for the customer plant inside trailer lights. Alone in the empty build bay, you exhale toward the loading door. You pin the new reputation rule on the shop board. Level 7. Controls and Robotics Specialist. From the mezzanine guardrail, you see idle automotive robots blinking red across the bay. You leave the late-model SUV as the black car waits. Through priority security, you wheel the calibrated tool case. At the scanner, you open lounge access with a green flash. You review fault trends with engineers beside the deadline. Beside the director's safety vest, you answer why local teams failed. You walk the pharma room ahead of managers in sterile shoe covers. On the thermal image display, you find encoder fault heat. You study the industrial park from the hotel window before dawn. Below the catwalk, a warehouse sorter sits looped around stopped robot induction stations. You defend restart risk before staff at the reliability manager's tablet. Beside two engineers at the cabinet, you rewrite recovery logic. You brief leadership near the production line around the white helmet. With the finance manager folder, finance says premiums bring $16,000 per month. You carry the stickered rugged laptop through plants in 4 states. From the stainless catwalk, you watch robot packers feed below in constant rows. You refuse a QA skipping restart beside the supervisor's coffee cup. At the vibrating connector plug, you narrow the ghost fault. You change shirts between plants under the rental lot light pole. On the travel calendar, you study 4 plant types in 5 days. You simulate recovery with the mode key before production material. Beside the competitor's business card, you watch the rep underbid you. You leave the lobby with the carry-on wheel clicking behind you. From a rental SUV, you pass factory gates before the emergency entrance. You answer the incoming competitor call after their fix collapses. Outside glass plant doors, you smile once before the second ring. You hear the competitor request secrecy through the speakerphone on the hood. From the live fault beacon, you diagnose the failed patch. You take the maintenance chief's handshake before the visitor desk. At the premium hotel, you accept the suite upgrade card. Through the restricted turnstile, you lead the local team inside. You watch green stack lights ripple robot by robot down the automotive line. At the VP business card, you discuss support without your employer. You outline multi-site prevention across the folding job table. Inside the case, you separate personal business cards from the company badge. You stop at the jet bridge window and make the changing call. Before checkout, you invoice consulting through the lobby printer tray. You pack gold-plated adapters worth more than your first car. Inside the emergency binder cover, you watch a customer write your number. You order your domain name while holding the airline boarding pass. Level 8. Independent Robotics Contractor. You park the wrapped service truck under shop lights with drawers open. At sunrise, you open the roll-up door to parts and gear. You fill the customer job board with plants, faults, and response times. Before first call, you load the spare drive box. You quote repair from the clipboard beside the stalled cell. At the purchasing agent's badge, you defend your premium emergency rate. You hang logo uniforms along the shop wall. From the industrial park driveway, you drive to the customer plant. You restore the robot with the servo drive module. On labeled shelves, you stock pendants, sensors, motors, and cables. You justify one contractor's cost beside the maintenance lead radio. Through the open plant bay door, you see your truck beside a silent line. You patch recovery logic on the recovery patch screen. From the dashboard mount, you answer dispatch because the dispatcher is you. You carry the sealed controller box out like treasure during parts pickup. After the bank notification, the month reaches $24,000 per month. You reject warranty coverage on a machine you never built. Against the painted witness mark, you verify master position. You update the job board with black marker after midnight. On one stormy night, 3 missed call alerts stack from customer plants. You negotiate with the subcontractor demanding prepayment in the text thread. Through the speakerphone earpiece, you guide cabinet checks. You repack the foam tool drawer after every call. Beside the shop lease page, you map customer plants. You collapse beneath the truck sleeping blanket under dock lights. You hit the steering wheel horn and laugh across the empty lot. On an angry voicemail, you hear demands for 2 plants at once. You print labels for parts shipments with gas station coffee beside you. On the safety relay sketch, you draft a bypass plan. You see the empty truck bay glow beside half-empty shelves at 3 a.m. For hires not yet made, you stage a spare tool bag. You face the accountant's warning about your body at the ledger folder. Beside emergency invoices, you stack unsigned agreements. You document every standard setup with the labeled drawer photo. On the tripod-mounted phone, you record a troubleshooting walkthrough. You throw the truck keyring across the shop bench. At sunrise, the shop window frames your truck and a new alarm. You hear the recruiter explain that experienced techs cost real money. Atop the blank hiring checklist, you write, "First technician." You prepare the training bench with uniform, tools, and notes. Level 9. Robotics Service Company Owner. Drivers roll 3 vans out while technicians test 2 robot cells inside. From the glass office wall, you watch technicians cross the floor. You dispatch crews across the route map during morning huddle. On the warehouse racks, you label spaces for controllers, motors, sensors, and cables. You weigh the 2-person call argument at the technician tablet. Along the guarded walk-through path, you guide the customer. You scan van inventory for emergency parts before drivers leave. Beneath the overhead company logo, technicians test 2 robot cells. You count wrapped vans across spaces once reserved for your truck. Inside the dedicated bay, you watch recruits use the training arm. You negotiate release of critical motors at the vendor invoice packet. Beside the cage, you stamp approval for major equipment. You test the recruit at the staged safety fault box. At monthly close, the bookkeeper announces $45,000 per month from the folder. You hear van radios crackle as crews spread toward multiple plants. At the escalation email, you answer the customer engineer's missed milestone. You check build progress at each station placard. At the keypad cage lock, you open the parts inventory. You coach the lead tech with a downtime note card. Across labeled cubbies, you size uniforms for future hires. You review shipment plans with the shop lead and driver around staging cones. At the rotation calendar, you handle the senior technician's quitting threat. A forklift driver carries the robot base past vans loading outside. On the capacity board, you identify the weak handoff. You call the customer from the shop floor headset during timing tests. On the break room wall, you study crew photos at customer plants. You read the red escalation letter threatening the launch account. With the white hard hat in hand, you head for the build bay. You accept a sunset recovery deadline on the launch manager's phone. Across the magnetic board, you rearrange crews, parts, and shifts. As vans return and leave with parts, night bay lights fill the floor. You check rebuilding and robot testing together at the open panel. At the conference table, you seat customers, leads, vendors, and finance. You defend financing vans and inventory beside the banker's briefcase. Beyond every old paycheck, you study the revenue wall chart. At the aisle intersection, you clap once and direct each lead. You create the startup standard binder for every crew. Under your name, you watch vans, parts, techs, and calls move. Level 10. Automation Empire Builder. You pull the executive truck grill into headquarters beside branded fleet vehicles. Across headquarters loading aprons, technicians run cells and load vans. You fly between waiting site leads with the regional flight tag. Onto polished robot arms cycling for customers, you open demo room glass. You answer 3 state coverage demands at the boardroom nameplate. Around uptime, crews, and inventory, you negotiate the contract binder. You walk the giant plant aisle while robot lines thunder beside executives. Instead of another employer's mark, you wear the founder logo shirt. You open staged integration space at the new bay ribbon. At training benches, you place technicians before demo cell faults. You slow the branch argument at the expansion map. Beside the aging production line, you review the retrofit layout sheet. You watch a commissioned robot line run under your brand beyond the cage. Across the shop floor, you greet crews by badges and projects. You walk controller rack aisles filled beyond single shelves. In the demo room, executives sit in leather chairs facing live robots. You confront cheaper bundled contracts at the rival proposal packet. With the response coverage map and named crew leaders, you counter. You inspect vans staged for morning calls at the second state sign. Before sunrise, drone footage shows branded vans leaving 2 facilities. You hear the CFO state during finance briefing that owner income is $120,000 per month. At the major account badge, you address fears of national coverage. You prove the retrofit sequence inside the live demo cell. After the training test, you approve hiring on the tablet. You lift the low-price offer sheet, threatening your largest account. At the boardroom door handle, you order a same-day recovery tour. Across the interstate sign, crews demonstrate response speed on live equipment. You sidestep the sales director's corner at the rival lapel pin. At the podium, you place lead technicians to explain failures. Your illuminated headquarters sign stands above branded vans and customer cars. Down the painted corridor, you pass bays, rooms, and demo cells. You study the service map lighting calls across multiple states. As executives watch, technicians cycle cells and synchronized demo robots move. From the empire-wide floor view, you see vans, gear, robot arms, executives, and your logo.